What's up, YouTube? It's Vertex here, bringing you guys some of the gameplay commentary today. And this is going to be an 8th match. It's actually from that same lobby I was in the other day when I brought you guys those two Domination on Octane games. But this is going to be some Search and Destroy on Warhawk. I dropped 16 kills, so it's pretty good gameplay in my opinion. Hopefully you guys think the same. But in this commentary, I want to talk to you guys about competitive Call of Duty rules. And I'm going to first go over what all of them are, basically a basic description of them, and then I'm gonna tell you guys how to choose them. You guys probably already know how to choose them, and probably already have them picked out if you play competitive. But if you don't, here's just a basic little guideline you can go by if you want to choose them. So, number 1 is going to be the Slayer class. I did actually kill him. I did not think those 3 bullets I put into him would actually kill him. Apparently they did. But anyway, number 1 is going to be the Slayer class. I'm going to do this one first because it's the one I have the most experience in. I've been playing this class for over a year now. And class. Did I really just call it class? It's not a class set. Although it has a lot to do with your class set, it's not a class set. There's no class called Slayer. But anyway, I meant role. So, I've been playing this role for over a year now. I'm pretty good at it, I think I could say. And I know a lot about it. And I think I can give you guys some insight as to basically what the role is about. So, the Slayer role, you're going to be using an assault rifle. There are very few submachine gun Slayers. I only run a sub on Strike Zone just because the map's so small and fast-paced, and I enjoy being able to move at that fast pace with everyone else, and actually being able to win gunfights close range and things of that nature. So I run a TAR on that map. Other than that, it's basically strictly an assault rifle. So that's your number 1 for Slayer. You're probably going to be using an assault rifle. Map control is going to be our next topic, so that is going to be your main job. Map control is your main job as a Slayer. Just because it says Slayer doesn't mean that you're just going for kills. That's not the job of a Slayer. A Slayer can get a very small amount of kills, and I mean really, like 8. A Slayer can get 8 kills on a domination match and be doing his job. If people aren't pushing his direction and the other Slayer has like 20 something and he only has 8, that's not his fault. If he goes 8-1, the other Slayer goes 22-5, he did his job and he did it pretty damn well. If he's holding map control and people aren't pushing him and they're pushing the other person, that person, or the person with 8 kills, should not feel down about himself at all, because it's not his fault that he did not get those kills. It's basically the other team's fault for not pushing him. So that's my logic behind that. It's not all about the kills, guys. You need to hold map control, and that is especially really important in Blitz. Not only is that going to allow your team to capture the portal themselves. What the fuck? I don't know if you guys heard that. That was my chair. But not only is map control going to allow your team to capture portals themselves, it's going to allow your team to make sure, you and your team, to make sure that the other team does not sneak by anywhere and end up capturing portals in that way. So that's going to help your team in both aspects. If you have a good Slayer holding map control the way he should be, your team should be pretty damn good at Blitz. It's going to, obviously, like I said, the other team's not going to be able to score, and also your team is going to be able to score a lot as well because your Slayers are going to have them down. Most of the time, they're going to have at least one person down at all times. Not literally at all times, but most of the time. And then on top of that, they're going to basically be able to make sure that no one on the other team ends up sneaking through. You're going to have a good shot to play a Slayer role. A lot of kills that you're going to have are going to be mid to long range. You want to make sure you're not in a lot of close range situations, because you most of the time will lose that to a submachine gun. Although people say assault rifles are overpowered in this game, submachine guns win up close like they should, and assault rifles win medium to long range like they should. I don't see, they're not really overpowered. They just, I mean, everything kills fast in this game. It's just assault rifles kill so fast now in comparison to the M8. People think it's overpowered. It's not really overpowered. But anyway, I'm sorry if you disagree. That's just how I feel about it. You're going to have a good shot. You're going to be able to hit those shots against other Slayers on the other team, trying to hold map control for their squad. So you're going to have a good shot if you want to hang with the best Slayers in the game. The next is just going to be, you're going to have a good reaction time. That's basically goes for all of these roles. I mean, if you don't have good reaction, that goes for Call of Duty in general. You need a good reaction time. It's an FPS. You can't be super slow. The next role is going to be the objective role, which is pretty common. Obviously, it's basically around just as much as the Slayer role. It's just mini. So, the objective role obviously is going to play the objective. He's going to be running an SMG most of the time. That way he can move around the map faster, have higher mobility, and things of that nature. It's basically going to allow him to get up in the enemy's face and kill them, or hop on a flag, or get to a portal as quickly as possible and as efficiently as possible. Okay, so obviously, as I said, their goal is to play the objective. It's going to be capturing a flag in domination, or even capturing a portal in blitz. That's going to be his or her, I guess, main job as an objective player. Is you're going to have to get the points for your team. I'm not saying that a Slayer can't get those points. I'm saying that is the objective player's main job. We're not going through basically how to play, because a Slayer is basically should be an objective player too. It's just not the objective player. Like, the role of the objective is to get those caps, and that I'm just going over that right now. So your objective player is going to have to cap flags and portals, obviously. And they're going to have to be really smart. You can't have an objective player that just pushes everything and challenges everything without thinking when, okay, maybe I could flank this flag, or I meant portal, my bad. Maybe I could just flank around this team and get a portal instead of running right up the middle or running right up the right side and challenging a couple gunfights, and maybe I can 50-50, maybe I'll win them, maybe I won't. Whereas I could just run around them and avoid those gunfights entirely and just guarantee myself that cap. So I'm not saying you shouldn't challenge gunfights. I'm saying you have to be really smart and think about it, and you have to think really quickly. Like, you have to have a very fast thought process in order to play an objective role correctly. And also, the smart aspect comes in domination with, like, your objective player can't just hop on a flag when the other team has 4 people up looking at that flag. They have to allow their Slayers to do their job, get at least 2 down, and then hop on that flag. Maybe 1 if the other people are out of position. But you're going to want at least 2 down before you hop on a domination flag as an objective player. And then you want to make sure your team's around to cover you. Maybe have your other objective player there to double cap it with you. That way you can capture it in half the time. These are all the things that have to be running through your mind as an objective player. It's a hard role to play. None of these roles are easy to play, but you may fill into one role easier and better than another one, you may. So I'm just going to go through all of them, and you guys can basically pick from there. The next role we have is the sneaking class. It's blitz only, basically. There's no reason for you to sneak in domination. I can see why you'd sneak in search and destroy, but for a completely different reason. And this reason is going to be, obviously, the objective. You want to capture the portals. So, you're going to be using a submachine gun, probably. I guess you could use an assault rifle, but it'd be weird. And there'd really be no reason to use an assault rifle over a submachine gun. Because what you're going to be doing as a sneaker is you're going to be getting into a lot of situations where you can sneak past the enemy and just not challenge a gunfight and not even shoot on top of that. Not just not challenging a gunfight, don't even shoot at the person. Let them run by, call them out to your team, and then let your team pick them up. Make sure that your team picks them up, and make sure that your team knows where they're coming from, because if they don't, that could screw you over a lot. If you forget to call well, I guess you can't really forget, but if you call someone out and your team forgets to rotate over and pick them up, and then you just keep running, that guy is also doing the same thing. He is just running through, because the advantage of sneaking through is they think they cleared out the lane you're in, and then they didn't, so they're not going to watch that lane anymore, because they think they have that clear. They're good for that lane. And then you sneak by, and they're like, what the fuck? Where did this guy come from? Now, think about this. If you sneak by someone, don't call them out, which probably will never happen. But let's just say, hypothetically, you sneak by someone, you don't call him out, he keeps pushing up that lane. Your team's going to think the exact same thing. They're going to think, oh, this guy just pushed this lane, we're good on that side, let's fill the other lanes. Whereas that guy actually just basically snuck by you without even knowing it. So you have to make sure that your team knows he's there and that your team picks that guy up, whoever you passed. So that is also, you have to be very smart. You have to know when not to shoot. If you shoot in a situation where you could have just run past and gotten a portal, that's a mistake, and that could cost your team not only a portal, but possibly a game if it's a close match. Now I'm going to get into choosing your role. I've talked about all 3 roles. That's basically the only roles, really, that I can think of. You got your basic 2, Slayer objective, and then your hybrid, not hybrid, what? Your special objective class that's basically only for Blitz, which is the sneaking role. So now getting into choosing. If you feel like you want to be that guy that just kill, kill, kill. You kill everything. You kill everything you see. Nothing on the other team is moving on your screen without you shutting it down. Go with the Slayer role. You get a lot of attention for being a Slayer. I'm not saying that's why I'm a Slayer. I'm just saying that people that drop 30 kills and a half, usually they get some attention because that's pretty impressive. People that dropped 40 or 50 in Hardpoint and Black Ops 2, they got some attention because that is impressive. That's a lot of kills, especially when they did it against some top-notch competition. So if you want to be that guy, if you want to be the guy that gets all the recognition for getting a ton of kills, and you want to go off like that, you know the maps, you're going to have to know the maps. If you don't know the maps and the spawns and things of that nature, you're not going to be able to do it to the best of your ability. You're still going to be able to do it if you have a good shot, good reaction time, and things like that. But if you know the maps, you know the spawns, you're going to be just that much better, and it's really going to help. So if you want to be a Slayer, if you know the maps, go for it. Try it out. If it doesn't work, move on to the next role. Or if it doesn't work, stick with it. I was not the best Slayer at first. I was not the best objective player at first. I personally like slaying, so I stuck with slaying, and I'm a much better Slayer now, and I think a lot of people could agree with that. The next role is going to be objective. So if you feel like, Slayer was fun, but I want to try something else. Let's see how objective works. Objective players are going to be the ones that do all the dirty work. They don't get as much attention for it, although a lot of people that play objective, they have like their own little objective mind. So when they see someone do an amazing objective play, they notice it, and that's pretty cool. When you get noticed by someone else that plays an objective and they're like, damn, that person, he actually noticed. That's a pretty cool feeling when you do something cool as an objective player. I loved that feeling in CTF. It was the best. But you're going to have to be smart about it. So if you feel like you're smart, want to do that dirty work, try out the objective role. If you want to be that sneaker, sorry we're running out of time. If you want to be a sneaker, get those caps in Blitz, go ahead and try that out. But that's all for today, guys. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like. If this helped, also be sure to drop a like. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, be sure to subscribe. Peace.